Hey Islanders, and welcome to the bonus episode 2 of the Camano Voice. On this episode, I talk about some really exciting news that just happened. Hi, I'm Brandon Erickson, and you're listening to the Camano Voice podcast, where I interview folks around Camano Island and beyond. If you want to stay up to date on events, businesses, and even hear a little history of this area, subscribe to this podcast and share with your friends. Thanks for listening. Hey Islanders, and welcome to another episode. On this episode, it's going to be a special announcement episode. It's another bonus episode of the Camano Voice. And I wanted to talk about some exciting news that just recently happened. So we bought the company. And by we, I mean myself and my wife. We purchased Camano Commons Marketplace from my dad, Jeff Erickson. I've been managing the marketplace for a little over, most of this year. I've been managing it like hands-on. We officially closed on the business like a week ago, so very recently. And but I want to take some time to kind of talk about what the future is, and also why this is really exciting, as well as very important to me as well. First of all, the Camano Voice has been so much fun for me. I've had such a great time interviewing all of my guests, and I've got so many more coming up. I'm actually booked like weeks in advance right now for the podcast, and I can't wait for you guys to hear all of those. So don't worry, the Camano Voice is not going anywhere. I realized when I wrote some of this and was planning this episode out, it kind of sounded like I was going to be closing this down. I'm not. Camano Voice isn't going anywhere. Lots of great episodes coming up. But I did want to take a moment to pause and talk a little bit just about Camano Commons and how it got started and why I'm so honored to take over this business from my dad, Jeff Erickson. If you've listened to the very first episode of the Camano Voice, I interviewed my dad, and we went over how he started the coffee company, how it got started in his barn on our property, and I was probably about 10 years old. But over the course of that time, I've been able to see CICR, is what we call it internally, but Camano Island Coffee Roasters. I've been able to see that grow from the small coffee roaster with 3 1-pound roasters to what it is today, shipping coffee all over the U.S. We've even shipped international. So it's grown so much. And during that time, it's also grown multiple other businesses out of it. So, and of course, Camano Commons Marketplace is one of those businesses. But when he started Camano Commons, and you might remember this from that episode, but in that episode, he talked about he always wanted a third place to go and hang out on Camano Island, because one of the biggest things about Camano is that it's a bedroom community, and people move here because they want to build their dream house, live on the beach, or have a great water view, live on an island, be able to spend time with themselves and their family, and that's great for a while. And then eventually you kind of get bored and you want to meet people again and you want to talk to people. And there really wasn't a great location to do that on the island. So when my dad envisioned Camano Commons, it was going to be that third place. So a third place, for those of you who don't know, is a reference to a book, but it's referencing like your first place is your home, your second place is your work, your third place is like your place that you hang out and enjoy yourself. So he wanted to create that for Camano Island, and that's why he built Camano Commons. Again, it was an offshoot of the Camano Island Coffee Roasters, because in order to build the infrastructure for our coffee roaster on the island, he had to do all of this extra work that he didn't realize would need to be done at the time. And in order to get that, in order to build one septic system for the roaster, it was easier or just as difficult to build the entire thing and build a whole complex. And so that's the decision he ended up going with. Not with the intention of ever owning it and running everything that's in that complex, but just he wanted his place that he had his coffee roaster to have a lot of people around it so that he could have people to hang out with and have interactions with. And so that was kind of his idea behind Camano Commons. And of course, it went through its ups and downs, and eventually he ended up back with Camano Commons. And then when he took it back over, really came to the decision that I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to build it the way I think it should have been built from the beginning. And he's really worked on creating that here at Camano Commons. And that's why, you'll notice when we have new tenants come in and when we have restaurants come in, like, we really don't want to allow big chains into the complex, because we feel all the food places, all of the businesses here, they should, well, as far as the restaurants are concerned, they should be artisan restaurants where they make their own food. They bring something special to the table, and they're not just ordering, frozen food, then heating it up or whatever. Like, they're really doing a great job and focusing on the craft of food. And also, we don't want them to be a franchise, because you can get a franchise anywhere pretty much in the U.S. And we wanted it to be a special place for people to come and hang out. And that was one of the visions that he had, and that's why the people you see, the restaurants you see here, are all unique and very low location count. And many of them, this is their first location. So that was, all of that was kind of born out of my dad starting the coffee roaster. And that has always been it's just kind of been an offshoot of him seeing a problem and wanting to solve it and then working on that. And so, but one of the things that, any entrepreneur, any business person will tell you, when you see them at the finish line, and you see them and they're very successful and they're doing well, people forget the journey they took to get there. I was just listening to another podcast, that was talking about that. The guy was saying, like, when people see professionals do their craft, so for a golfer, if someone is a professional golfer and they're able to hit that perfect shot, so many times in a row, and people always say, well, I wish I could do that. I would do anything if I could do something like that, if I could be like you on that. Well, what they don't realize is that the work it takes to get to that level of professionalism, or that skill level, or that level of mastery, takes so much more time and energy. When people say, I would do anything to do that, they don't really mean that, because in order to do that, that means you're saying no to so many other things. You're saying no to certain family gatherings, or maybe parties that you're missing out at, or Netflix shows, or whatever. And this is why I'm bringing this back around, don't worry. This is one of the things that I felt that it's always been inspiring to myself, and has set such a high bar, is that is something of all the different qualities that my dad has and that I've seen over the years. His work ethic and his ability to push through walls and just keep fighting and going, no matter what's going on or what happens, has always been such an inspiration to me, and been such a high bar for me to try and aim at. And it's one that I know I will probably never hit, but it's part of the reason why I feel so honored to take over Camano Commons Marketplace, because the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that my dad, Jeff Erickson, has put into not only this business, but many of the other businesses, as well as this complex and this community, he's done that and laid the groundwork for me to take over this business. And I just want to say thank you to him. The amount of 100-hour work weeks that he's put in so that I'm able to work in this environment, work and build off of already, functioning, successful business is just, it's crazy. And it's such an honor for me to be able to take that over. So, this is not meant to be a super long podcast. I'm just really thankful to Jeff that he gave me this opportunity, that I'm able to take this and run with it. I'm really thankful for this community for supporting him over these years. I'm really thankful for the support you guys have shown me over the time that I've been here, as well as to the marketplace and to Camano Island Coffee Roasters and to Camano Commons as a whole. I just want to say thank you. And that's really all I wanted to do. But what you can expect in the future, we have such a great foundation moving forward. I really want to see this community thrive. I want to see more events here at the complex as well as here on Camano Island. And I want to see more people hear about our island and be able to explore it and enjoy it just like we have over so many years. So just thank you guys, and I will talk to you on the next podcast.